But you know, the league still lost like $40 million this year.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that?
If I hear you use the phrase, my truth or your truth, there's just the truth. I feel a little bad for her because she's going to learn that it will never be enough.
Sure, we hear that thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform for black women in the WNBA. Okay.
Okay, so this is a story that's been developing over the past week where Caitlin Clark won Athlete of the Year for Time magazine. In the course of doing that, she claimed that she has white privilege and it's on her to support the black women who built the WNBA. Now, this brings us to today's video where Scott Jennings wipes the floor with Carrie Champion because it turned into a heated debate about Caitlin Clark's comments.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that wrong?
Why is she being bullied for acknowledging something that's smart, truth, and factual?
Well, a couple things. Number one, whether you're an athlete or anyone else, if I hear you use the phrase, my truth, I immediately then discount everything else you say because there isn't my truth or your truth. There's just the truth. And when you start using phrases like that, it tells me that
That's not true.
Your brain has been captured by something that I don't really respect.
That's not true.
Number two.
That's not true.
Number two, the attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But, the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean,
to
what did they build? What do you mean, what did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
The reason why it's still up and still running, whether it's losing money or not, is because of these black women who are in this.
Now, that's where Carrie Champion went wrong with her statement that it was the black women who built the WNBA. Technically, it's the owners of the NBA teams who actually built the league because without them, the WNBA couldn't exist, right? The NBA funds the WNBA. This leads me to my second point about the WNBA. The problem with them is they live off subsidies. So they're never actually in a position where they're forced to make money in order to survive. And third, this is why when Caitlin Clark came out and said she has white privilege and she has to support these black women who built the WNBA, it's just misplaced because that's not actually the financial truth of that business.
And so, Scott, stop it. Stop it now.
It's not. I was in Dickie's arena.
Who pays for it?
I was in Dickie's arena. Let me just tell you.
It says more about the people who are getting offended by it than her.
I think they're just disappointed that she appears to have been captured by the woke mob.
You don't like the word.
And here's the disappointment.
It's the white privilege. Let him articulate this because I want to learn something.
I feel a little bad for her because she's going to learn that it will never be enough. No matter how much of the phrasing, no matter how much of the groveling you do, it will never be enough for the people in that league that hate her guts.
Why do you assume?
Now, that's why we all love Scott Jennings, because he just tells it like it is. And that is so true about Caitlin Clark. The reason why people love her and respect her is because of merit. She's truly talented, potentially a one-in-a-generation type player for the WNBA. That's why people watch her. They don't watch her because she's white. They don't watch her because she believes she has white privilege. They watch her based on merit. And while she's over here focused on social justice issues, thinking that's going to help her get clout and respect and get the approval of other WNBA players, we know that's not going to happen because these WNBA players operate from a place of lack. It's never going to be enough. And let me show you a prime example of that. Here's Sheryl Swoop's reaction to what Caitlin Clark said.
That I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. She goes on to talk about this very notion. Megyn Kelly called those comments condescending and fake. And then you had this moment from Sheryl Swoops.
Sure, we hear that thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA that have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
Now, that's funny because this is the same individuals that claim that it's white people holding the league down. It's misogyny, it's racism, because it's a female league, people treat it differently. It's second rate. Yeah, but look how you treat each other. So you want people to give the league respect, but you don't even give respect to your own people. Make that make sense.
They hate her guts.
Why do you assume that she is trying to pander? Isn't it also...
Because I hear the language. It's the language of the pander. I hear the phrase white privilege. Sports is the one place where nobody on the field has any privilege at all. She doesn't get extra points when she shoots because she's white. She gets the same number of points as anybody else. Sports is the great equalizer, and it just felt like to a lot of people that she was groveling for no reason, because she is an amazing player who deserves all the accolades she's getting right now for doing what she's doing for women's basketball.
All right,
Now, what Scott Jennings was saying about how sports is the ultimate equalizer, I also believe this about entrepreneurship in the marketplace. It's the market that decides whether or not what you are offering is valuable. And what the WNBA offers is not as valuable as the NBA. Now, some people will argue, well, it's because that's the way it's always been, or the contracts that are signed with TV networks, the sponsorships. Fine, that's okay. But what you can't argue is why is it that they're still going to lose $50 million even after these stats about her historic season? Check this out.
The WNBA wants to make money, right? It's a business. Well, they're making a lot more money than they used to, because let's take a look at merchandise sales and attendance as well. This season compared to last season, attendance up 48%. Even more impressive than attendance, how about merchandise? Stuff like jersey sales, of course, rookie sensations like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, #1 and #2 in jersey sales this particular year. We're looking at merchandise sales overall up 600%. My goodness gracious. Of course, if you're like me, maybe you're not always donning a WNBA jersey. Maybe you don't have the time to go see a game in person, so you're watching it on television. Well, there are a lot more folks watching it on television this season compared to prior seasons. So let's take a look at those WNBA ratings. We're talking about the highest this century. My goodness gracious. In nationally televised games, overall, we're talking 657,000 folks tuning in on average. A big component of that is Caitlin Clark. She has star power, drawing power. Look at how many folks tuned into Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever on average. We're talking about 1.2 million. That is 3 times as many folks who tuned in to non-Caitlin Clark games.
Now, those numbers are definitely historic, and it seems to be good news. But here's the thing about business that a lot of people don't understand. Even if the WNBA signs better media contracts, how long will it take for them to get paid, right? That's always a thing, and time is of the essence. If they're not really receiving a significant amount of money from their revenue to pay back what it costs to run the business in the first place, they'll lose money again. And again, that's exactly what's happening over the past season. They'll lose almost $50 million, even though their revenue was $200 million. So it's not social justice. This is just pure business 101. The business model does not work. And the irony of all of this, she clearly makes more money than everybody in the WNBA just through sponsorships alone. And the WNBA players should be happy about that, because that means she is out there setting the market. But don't tell this WNBA owner, because she doesn't get it.
It has taken the WNBA almost 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA, and it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlin Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized. And I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
There has been, this phrase has been couched, hasn't it? The Caitlin Clark effect. Why do you think that has been the case?
Well, I want to be very diplomatic about this. It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen. So last night, we read Time magazine, where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said, the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have?
So Miss Johnson is operating with a great level of delusion. We all know this. She is clearly preaching to the choir. She is catering to the base and the whole social justice movement. She is not talking actual business. Now, I assume behind closed doors, she doesn't really believe in any of that, but they would never be the League of the Year because, number one, they lost money. Number two, maybe you had 3 top talented players from the WNBA draft that are bringing in a bunch of the ratings. Sure. But what about the NFL? What about the NBA? What about the UFC? There's so much talent to go around. Here's the other claim about, well, the media never wanted to actually give attention to black WNBA players because they're racist. Okay. Then why was Michael Jordan a thing? Why was Tiger Woods a thing? Why has LeBron James been a thing? Kobe Bryant been a thing? I mean, we can go on and on and on. In fact, most of these leagues today are dominated by black people who are getting paid millions of dollars, more money than anybody who's come before them. So make it make sense.
Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing and their talents.
You mentioned Time Magazine.
Yes.
And Caitlin Clark has made a point of using that moment to say we need to celebrate the black players in the WNBA and what they have done, and credits them for being so much the foundation of the success of the league. How important is that if it shouldn't have to be the case?
Yeah, she shouldn't have had to say that, but I applaud her for saying it. We cannot continue to operate because this division of racism is going to tear us apart.
Actually, what's going to tear the WNBA apart is the woke mind virus. This type of mindset that's based on lack, right? And it's a victim mindset. And when you're thinking from that place and when you're running a business from that place, you can only get the results a victim would get, which are not good results. And that's exactly what's going to continue to happen to the WNBA. They will never rise to their true potential because they don't want to take any accountability and look in the mirror. And we have recent history to prove this. They sound like it's Democrats running the league. And yes, politics definitely plays a role in this because you see it's the same mindset that the Democratic Party was using, and the WNBA is going to become out of touch with the average viewer. Bank on it.
All right, now let me share something with you guys. I believe in having a substantial percentage of my financial future secured with gold and silver. That's why I decided to partner with today's sponsor, Colonial Metal Groups. They've helped me set up a safe and secure self-directed IRA where I can have access to my assets, no matter what the stock market is doing, and for that matter, no matter what the government is doing. Go to freegoldguide.com/Devori for your Colonial Metal Group's retirement protection kit, created specifically for people like you. That is freegoldguide.com/Devori, or call 1-800-757-5158. That is 1-800-757-5158. Qualified applicants can receive up to $7,500 in additional silver to their account. Call now.
Okay, so now I want to show you this clip from Christine Brennan, who was the reporter that got a lot of flack for interviewing Caitlin Clark. They thought that she was trying to create more division. And here she is reacting to what Sheila Johnson just said.
Laura, I am a big fan of Sheila Johnson. I know Sheila very well. She is a great role model, leader, owner, a terrific, successful, wonderful person. I have no idea why she said what she said. It is of course, the player, the athlete of the year, and it's not the league of the year or the team of the year. Caitlin Clark deserves that. There's no doubt that Caitlin Clark, the impact that she had on the league was extraordinary. The TV ratings, the attendance, the sellouts, even Sheila Johnson's own team, the Washington Mystics, moved their 2 Indiana Fever games from the 4,200 seat arena to the 20,000 seat arena, and in September had the biggest crowd in WNBA history because of Caitlin Clark. And Sheila Johnson knows that.
All right, so here's my question that I'd love for you guys to answer in the comments section below. Do you believe the fact that this league continues to lose money is more due to the fact that it's a flawed business model that depends too much on the NBA to subsidize it? Or do you truly believe it's due to misogyny and that the league is treated differently because it's females and they don't get the respect or the attention that they deserve? Let me know what your thoughts are about that in the comment section below. Now, on that topic of getting the respect that you deserve, ABC just suffered a bombshell loss in court to Trump. Remember, Trump sued ABC and George Slopinopoulos for defamation because George was so obsessed with calling Trump a rapist. And as a result, they got some bombshell news yesterday. If you guys want to check out that video, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.